Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Another 5-minute act, ladies and gentlemen. Go wild and crazy and welcome to the stage, Spiky Mike. Come on. Hello there. We all right? Wow, you really have done well for yourself there, sir, haven't you? Fantastic. I currently live in Nottingham, which it's a bit annoying, actually, because I live in Nottingham's red light area, and the council have recently put a speed camera up in front of my house, which now means if I go above 30 miles an hour, I get a ticket, and if I go below 30 miles an hour, I get done for curb crawling. It's a dilemma. I read in the news recently, apparently Belfast City Airport has now changed its name. It's now known as the George Best City Airport, as a tribute to the late great footballer. Now, I thought that was kind of quite a nice gesture, but a little bit excessive. I thought it would have maybe been sufficient to just rename the duty-free shop after him. Do we have many sports fans here this evening? Yeah, fantastic. I like all sorts of sports. I actually heard the most fantastic piece of sports commentary I've heard in a long while last summer at Wimbledon. Now, are any of you people aware of the French tennis player Amélie Mauresmo? A few of you are. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not, she is a lesbian that looks very suspiciously like a transsexual. OK, folks, now bear this fact in mind. Now, what the commentator was attempting to allude to was the fact that Amélie Mauresmo had been in quite a lot of finals and hadn't hardly won any of them. He then proceeded to describe Amélie Mauresmo without any hint of irony whatsoever as the nearly woman. It was a beautiful moment. On my way to the gig this evening, actually, I stopped when I went to the toilets, I saw some graffiti somebody had written on the condom machine. They'd written on there in marker pen, "For refund, insert baby." which was nice, I think. Have we got any postal workers in this evening, by any chance? One person. I don't like you, sir. I'm afraid to say I actually ordered some photographs recently from a company. They arrived in the post this morning in a nice hardback envelope, folded in half. Now, I took them out of the letterbox, I opened it up, and there was a great big orange sticker on there that said, "Photographs, do not bend." Somebody had written on there, in, I think, biro, probably my postman, "Yes, they do." I was not happy at all. I recently had my first holiday, actually, with my new girlfriend. It was very, very nice. We went to Florida. However, the first day of the holiday didn't go too well. I very nearly got dumped by my new girlfriend. Now, we were standing in the line at Disney World. You guys will know it very well. I was queuing up. It was a long queue. I was looking around everywhere. I kind of put my arm around my new girlfriend in the queue. I gave her a nice squeeze of the bottom, affectionately, as you do. And then I turned around, smiled at her, and what I hadn't realised was the queue had actually moved along a little bit, and I was now squeezing the bottom of this 40-stone American woman who was suddenly looking around at me like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" And suddenly my girlfriend realised what had happened and was like, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" And all I could say to try and appease her was, "I'm really sorry. I thought it was you." Which didn't help at all. Right before I go, I've got one little story just to tell you. When you do stand-up comedy, you do very often feel compelled to do stupid things all the time. I was driving back from a gig recently in Manchester. We were coming down the M1 motorway. It was around about midnight. We were a bit bored. And then suddenly we saw something that livened up our evening. In front of us was a police car with a defective rear light. Now, we should have just pointed and thought that's funny and then carried along our merry little way. However, we then started daring each other for the next 3 miles to flash the police car and let them know. And after a while, we could resist no longer. So I flashed my lights, the police car came to a stop in the hard shoulder, which obviously then we had to do as well. The policeman got out, walked up to the car. I unwound the window. He bent over and said, "What seems to be the problem, sir?" And I said, "Well, I thought you'd like to know that you've got a defective rear light." He said, "Oh, right, thanks." Now, at this point, I should have quit while I was ahead. However, I now felt like I was on a roll. So I proceeded to ask him for his driving licence and insurance. At which point he arrested me for impersonating a police officer. Cheers, folks. You've been lovely. I've been Spiky Mike. Have a good night. See ya.
Come on, Spiky Mike, ladies and gentlemen.